So one of the things I want to talk about, Zach, is okay, everybody knows you're a hero when it comes to dog rescue, right? People are starting to get that. You're huge on social media, you're big.
Yeah.
But one of the things people don't really know maybe is your personal story, right? Can we get into it? You don't mind, right? You're straight shooter, right? I mean, let's be real.
For girls I'm trying to sleep with.
There you go. I love your honesty, dude. It's like brutally honest. I love it. No, but seriously, it's cool. Let's start. Where'd you grow up? You grew up
Hermosa Beach, California.
Yeah.
37 9th Street in Hermosa Beach. My mom was a executive at Disney and ABC, and she kind of wasn't a part of our life. My parents got divorced when we were really young. I have a twin brother. We were 6 months old. Mom cheated on my dad, and kind of that was that. And so my mom, after not really being a part of our life very much for the first 7 years, she quit Disney and ABC and bought a video store in El Segundo, and then bought one in Redondo Beach, and that's where we grew up. We grew up in a video store pretty much, and hanging out at the beach.
Right.
I graduated in 1997 from Redondo Union High School, and a bunch of my friends, it's where half my crew still lives, is in the South Bay, and so I go back there all the time.
Did you ever think you'd be in Kern County?
Oh, man.
Seriously. Your friends all ask you, what are you doing there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I fucking hated it. When I first moved here, I got sick here, so I went to Bakersfield Memorial and the shelter were the only two places I really went.
Right.
And so when that's the cross section of places that you're visiting, fuck, man, you get depressed about Bakersfield.
Yeah.
Those are the two worst. You ever driven around this area, Cottonwood, Martin Luther King Boulevard?
Yeah.
And it's awful. It's just terrible, man.
And that was your life.
Yeah, it was, and I just thought that's what Bakersfield was.
Okay, so you got sick, but people may not know how you got there. So you were drinking at a pretty early age, right? I mean, that's kind of what it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's
partying
pretty standard. Everybody. I started drinking at probably 12.
That's not really standard, though, is it?
I don't know what's standard.
I don't think that's standard, dude.
I don't know what normal is. I mean, I started drinking heavily at 15.
Right.
And then started drinking every night at probably 16, and then went to college at San Diego State and was drinking every night, and then fast forward, I got sick. I got in a car accident in Tehachapi, and my dad had moved up there, and I rolled my truck off I had a Denali Quadra-Steer pickup truck. It was sick. It was rad.
That's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, I rolled it off the road in Bear Valley. Probably rolled it 6 or 7 times, broke both axles off of it, broke my chest, broke my shoulder. I was hammered.
I was gonna say, were you drunk?
Yeah. And I never got a DUI. I didn't get a DUI that time because I just walked home.
Yeah.
And we pulled it out with a crane. They brought in a fucking crane, not like a tow truck, but a gigantic crane that they had to shut the road down, just to get the thing. It was pretty intense.
Right.
And it was just one of those things where...
And how old were you on that?
I was 23.
Okay. And at that time, were you drinking a lot then? Were you as in your hardcore stage, would you say?
Oh yeah. I mean, I was drinking all the time, doing a lot of drugs, and I was kind of... I was at a point where you would have thought that I would have taken it easy, and I would have had this happen and said, all right, well, here's where I got to get my shit together, and here's where I'm gonna get my life back together. And I did not do that. I instead, at that moment, after because when you break your chest, it's really painful, man. You can't cough, or when you cough or sneeze, or really hard to sleep. And I'd broken my nose a couple times too before that, so sleeping was terrible, man. And so I would wake up and start drinking, all throughout the night, whatever wake up to.
What's more damaging, the alcohol or the drugs, looking back? Alcohol for sure.
Yeah. I mean, mentally, I did a lot of drugs, and luckily never got into heroin. Tried heroin, never.
Would you say that people look at you now, though? If I saw you now, I would never imagine that. You look like a clean-cut guy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure the ladies find you attractive, and
that's part of why I could keep it going, man. Why my reality never had to come. Why I never really had to settle down to realities, because I could play it off for so long. I could put up that bullshit front that think everything was okay.
You had it all under control, right?
I was so far from control. I was enabled by my family. You know, I had them hook, line, and sinker, and other friends that I could that helped me feel normal, because I still had a large group of people, you know, socially and culturally that did exactly what I did. That's what they did every night. They got wasted and sold drugs and got hammered. You know.
Were you good at manipulating people, you think, at that time?
Man, it's tough, because no one likes to look back on their life and say, you know, like, was I a manipulative person? Was I a bad person? You know, and but fuck yeah, I was. I totally was. I mean, I would do anything, say anything, and do anything to get what I needed, man. If I didn't have alcohol, I mean, the most, I can't express to people how fear-inducing it is when the idea of running out of alcohol, me being out of alcohol.
Really? I mean, it was fearful? I mean, you were really...
No, well, physically, I would go into withdrawals, you know, and it would happen within a couple hours. And it's scary, man, because your anxiety is pegged. I mean, it's hard to express how bad the anxiety is. And then you can't stop shaking, you know, and you're dry heaving, and you need alcohol to function. And after that crash, after my car crash, when I tried to, 6 months after, when I had finally healed up, I tried to quit. I'm like, all right, this is the one day I'm not gonna drink tonight. Just tonight, you know, see how it goes. I'm gonna not drink tonight. I'm gonna smoke some weed, take it easy, you know. And physically, we're just within hours, man. It was awful, you know. And I barely made it through the night. I was shaking so bad. I was just sweaty.
How much were you drinking, like at your prime? I mean, when you were really into it. I mean, how much a day are we talking? We're not talking about
It's varied. I mean, I drank everything. So I drank a lot of whiskey, a lot of hard alcohol, but I drank a ton of beer. I mean, depends on if it was high school, college, after college. But I mean, I could drink a handle of Jack Daniels.
Wow.
In a night.
In one night?
Aided with cocaine, obviously.
Oh, man.
A whole hand, and that was relatively regular. I think that's like 27 shots or something stupid like that.
Wow.
And it was all a badge of honor. It was all something to be proud about.
Like, so when you went out and drank with your buddies, it probably felt good to, like, outdrink them, or...
Oh, yeah, man. When we were competitive drinkers, almost all of us. You know, I had a lot of big friends, too. Probably more what you'd expect, you know, me to look like.
Right. My
friends look like. And, yeah, I mean, it felt great to competitively drink, but it sucked for other reasons, because I couldn't, I was always paranoid about getting, because I always had drugs on me, always paranoid about police, always paranoid about, you know, you can't have a relationship with a woman, you know, you got whiskey dick 24 hours a day practically, you're not going to be getting very far with establishing a relationship, you know, so I having an actual functioning relationship with a girl was pretty difficult.
Yeah.
You know, you have, you know, everybody finds those.
Where was the bottom?
The bottom was when I got sick.
Because people may not know this, one of the things that, to really show how hard you were drinking, you actually needed a liver transplant right at one time, or you were on the list to get...
Yeah, my liver completely failed. I mean, I started turning yellow in early 2008, and then my stomach started to get big. My eyes were just bright yellow. My skin was yellow. If it wasn't yellow, it was purple. It was bruised, because you bruise real easily when you're in liver failure.
I mean, were you going in public at this time? I mean, are you embarrassed to go in public, or like?
Yeah, no, yeah. When I was going in public, but I would wear shades and always have glasses on, so you couldn't see my eyes. And I would wear long sleeve shirts, so you couldn't see how yellow I was. Mm-hmm. And I'd try and sit out in the sun and get tan, so you couldn't tell how yellow I was. And then I'd wear baggy shit, so you couldn't see my stomach poking through, and just sick shit. Sick. You think about it, it's like you should go to a doctor, man. You know, go to a doctor and get some help.
You weren't going to a doctor at that time?
No, I didn't have insurance, and it was like I don't want to.
Did you know something? Did you know something was wrong though?
Oh yeah, and then I finally went to a doctor, and I got the blood test results back, and they sent in this Dr. Dalal, and he said, you have liver disease. I'm like, okay. Well, I just got hammered last night, so that's why my numbers are messed up, because I got shit faced. He's like, no, this wouldn't have happened from getting wasted last night. This is you have liver disease, and you need to go to a hospital right now. And well, what do you mean? He's like, well, your kidneys are failing, and you have liver disease, bad, and if you don't go to a hospital right now, you know, this could be deadly for you. So I went outside. And I told my dad that everything was fine, me. I told him that we had that I needed to cut back on my drinking and that I shouldn't be taking sleeping pills. But that essentially everything was good, which is a complete bullshit lie. Like, I just couldn't face the idea of having to not drink anymore.
Was that more of a fear for you, not being able to drink?
Well, because everything goes away at that point. If I didn't have alcohol, I couldn't be myself ever.
Yeah.
I couldn't be me in front of people. I couldn't be. There was no me without alcohol. At all.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to speak to people. I wouldn't be able to function. I wouldn't be able to drive. Like, just getting used to driving sober was the thing for me, because I didn't drive sober for over a decade. I mean, it's amazing that I never got a DUI, let alone several DUIs.
Right. And a lot of people will think that the dogs came to your rescue, right? Or like, but it's not.
That is very much a part of how everything happened. When I finally went to the hospital, they admitted me. They just said, you fucking can't go anywhere. Because it got terrible. My belly button herniated. I had this huge, I was like 9 months pregnant.
Wow.
With this condition called ascites, and you can just hear it. It's blood and bile that your liver can't process because it's not working. And it just pools in your abdominal cavity. And you can move around side to side.
Is it painful?
One of the most painful things was lateral G's in a car, man. If I would have been sitting shotgun in one of your race cars, it would have been the most painful thing. Lateral G's, moving side to side with this stuff in my belly. Yeah. It was crazy painful.
Wow.
Yeah, it was intense, man. It was because there was so much liquid and it's putting pressure on all your internal organs. Yeah. And your gallbladder, I had pancreatitis. Your gallbladder's inflamed. Just when your liver fails, everything fails, man. Right. Everything. You start getting. Your liver filters your blood, so there are a lot of chemicals that aren't supposed to be in your body. Yeah. That your liver takes care of. So you get ammonia in your brain. So it didn't make any sense. I forget what fucking day it was, and I couldn't tie my shoes. They had I was at the hospital for a month and a half at Bakersfield Memorial, and
do you feel like you're dying? I mean,
at the time?
Yeah.
Man, I don't think I took much of it seriously. As soon as I got hooked on Dilaudid, as soon as I got morphine and Dilaudid, that's all I cared about. That's how fucked up it was. It was. There were moments I would just watch Angels baseball games, wheel around. I mean, I had a couple friends that would come hang out with me. We'd go in the parking lot, smoke weed. They'd break me out of the hospital, go smoke weed in the parking lot, which was always. I was deathly ill. You looked at me, and you would go, Jesus Christ, man. I was like gray, yellow. I was 140 pounds, and I was just sick. I don't know that I took it all that seriously. I think there were moments that I did, but once I got pain medicine, once I started getting intravenous Dilaudid, that's all I was concerned with, was getting more pain medicine. And when I got addicted to that in the hospital, then I just got worse. I just physically, they removed alcohol, but for some reason I just kept getting worse and worse and worse.
Were you still looking forward to drinking at that point, or were you kind of over it?
That's a good question. I think so. I think at the time I was thinking I'll just get better, and I'll figure it out.
Did you think like I'll manage my drinking better? Like, were you lying to yourself at some point?
Oh, absolutely, man. I thought about drinking rubbing alcohol at the hospital.
Oh God.
I thought about doing any way you can get. But once I got through the DTs, once I got through the withdrawals at the hospital, and they give you Ativan and alprazolam and Librium, get you through that shit. Once I got through the withdrawals, you're stoked. You start to be like, well, shit, it's been a day, it's been 2 days, I haven't had anything to drink. This is awesome, And you feel like you're pretty lucid, you feel like you're pretty cognizant and aware, coherent. But I was just, I got 100% focused on Dilaudid, on getting, Dilaudid's like morphine on steroids. And
when you say focused, does that mean like that was your
just got addicted to it.
That was your new high?
That was your thing. Because as soon as I got on high, I started to think about where I was. I started to think about the reality of the situation. Yeah. I started to think about death, and so you hot me up. I knew which nurses to fuck with. I knew who to put pressure on. I knew who to give a hard time to. I knew every 3 hours that I could get.
That's pretty manipulating, though, isn't it? When you're like using you're using people, right, to get what you need.
Feel bad. You know,
Wow.
just because you need it, because you feel like you cannot, you know, you cannot function. You're gonna die without it. Like it's worse than death. It's like a prolonged, agonizing, torturous existence.
Yeah.
You know, and also if you don't feel like it's hurting anybody, you know, that was the thing. I think for a long time I didn't think I was hurting anybody but myself.
Right.
You know, like if I'm fucking myself up. I mean, I know it might bum you out emotionally that I'm not what you want me to be, but you know, I'm not dying. You know, I'll be okay. I'll figure something out. You know, the future we'll figure it out at some point, you know?
Right.
And I just always thought there was going to be a time where I figured it out, you know? And I was 28, you know? That's a long, dude, that's 10 years after high school, you know?
Yeah.
It's not like but I still had this mentality like, you know, the world is my oyster.
Right.
I'll figure something out. It'll happen.
Yeah. So let's talk about Marley's Mutts. Like, how does it start? Like, how does this come about, or like, how do you get involved with this?
Well, I was before I think I told you in a radio show, before my high school reunion, I wanted to have something to say for myself at my reunion. I wanted to be able to say, like, when everyone else was talking about their master's degrees and doctorates and shit, I at least wanted to. I couldn't say I was a professional drunk, so I didn't want to make it all up. So I started volunteering for the Humane Society, which was fulfilling. Like, it was, and I seemed to be pretty good at it. I put together their large dog foster program, which we started, you know, bringing large dogs out of the shelter and into foster homes, and which is great because that's what we need to help large dogs get adopted. But then I got sick, and after I got out of the hospital, I got into a transplant program at Bakersfield Memorial. Everything got pitifully low, where it was I was just gonna die. I mean, they just said you need a liver transplant. Without it, you're fucked. And I didn't have 6 months sober, and I didn't have. You have to have 6 months sober in order to qualify for transplant. You cannot. They will not admit you. So fuck. What am I gonna do? I was gonna die in 6 months. I mean, the way I was trending was I was so sick that you know, there was no way I was gonna make it 6 months, and I was too sick to take a transplant. I was not physically well enough to handle a liver transplant. So
At this point, do your parents know what's going on?
Oh, my dad did. My dad was.
How's he feeling at this point?
My dad's an engineer. My dad's an aeronautical engineer. So he is an engineer to a T, man. That's all he wanted to do was figure out. And he's a fucking lemonade out of lemons type guy.
Right.
You know, whatever the situation is, he's gonna figure the shit out.
There's a solution to it.
There's a solution,
right,
no matter what. And so he's on the phone with anybody and everybody. My mom is drinking. My brother is drinking. They are distraught. My mom doesn't know what to do with herself.
Were your parents drinkers?
Every day that I knew them.
Okay, so do you think is maybe, I don't want to say hereditary, but it is hereditary? Okay.
Yeah, for sure. My grandfather, my dad's dad, died in 1961 when my dad was 15 of exactly the same disease I have, end stage liver disease.
Right.
He died at 41 years old.
Wow, 41.
41.
Wow.
Of liver failure.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what I have.
Yeah.
And I didn't. My dad didn't know his dad. He knew him a little bit, but what he knew, he didn't like. And,
right.
Stories of him pissing in his drawer and yelling at my grandmother and beating her and stuff like that. Like, not
right.
Stuff.
So the dog. So you get the. So you go to your reunion. You have this dog thing. I didn't
go to my reunion. I got sick.
Oh, you didn't? You mean you didn't go to the reunion?
No.
Now, are you rescuing dogs? Are you still doing things, or are you?
Yeah. So when I got out of the hospital, I was. I got broken out of Bakersfield Memorial and admitted to Cedars-Sinai, which is one of the top 3 transplant hospitals in the country. I was born there, so that helped.
Yeah.
They broke me out of the hospital. We literally sped down to Cedars to have an appointment with Dr. Tran, who's the head of transplant at Cedars. She's now my doctor, has been for 5 years. And they admitted me into comprehensive transplant. Comprehensive transplant kind of gets your foot in the door. It's not officially transplant, but they'll keep you alive, do whatever, help you meet whatever criteria you need to get into transplant. And that's what happened. So they released me from Cedars, put me on a bunch of medication, and said stay close to an emergency room. You know, if you survive 6 months, we'll get you a transplant. You also need to qualify for transplant. You have to have a score. It's called a MELD score. MELD is an acronym for Model for End Stage Liver Disease. you have to have a MELD score of 12 or higher to qualify for transplant. And mine was 25.6. So I was like absurdly, I qualified over and over again. I just still needed to put together that 6 months sober. So I went home, man, and I got sicker, and like just emergency rooms. And then I had to withdraw from Dilaudid, go through full blown opiate withdrawal, which was a fucking.
Are you going from one, like they're treating you for one substance to another? I mean, because you're getting addicted to these
They
different
didn't
stuff.
treat me for. I got broken out of the hospital, so they didn't treat me with anything. I got home and had to just crash from. It is full hallucinations. I mean, cramping. It's gnarly. I mean, it is another reality to come off of. Because I was there for a month and a half, getting a lot of Dilaudid every day, and it only takes like 3 weeks for you to become dependent, and it was tough coming off of that shit. I mean, it certainly wasn't as bad as it would be if someone was on it for years, but it wasn't fun.
How long have you? And people that may not know, but you don't drink alcohol anymore.
No,
right?
Man, 5 years.
You've been off for 5 years.
No, I haven't even smoked any weed. I haven't even taken a pill.
I was going to ask you, man. Is there anything else? Nothing.
I haven't taken any pills. No weed.
So you're off you're 100% clean.
100% clean since October 12th. But I should tell you that I drank,
October 12th of this year.
October 12th of 2008. So
wow.
5 years. Yeah.
5 years, dude.
5 years, no nothing.
You're like reborn. Is that correct to say that? Is that
the 5 years right there?
Let's see.
5 years sober. That's running I ran the Chicago Marathon on my 5th birthday.
You ran the Chicago Marathon.
Yeah.
Dude, you're like it's kind of, people say reborn, but you are, dude, right? I mean, you're like, sure. Would you say you're a completely different person? Are you still the same person?
I don't know, man. It's weird. I think I was so fucked up for so long. You like to think you're, I mean, dude, I had the scaffolding, like I had the internal structure of a good person. I had a good family that raised me with good morals, and I have an ethical conscience. But a lot of that shit when you're on drugs and alcohol, it gets brushed to the side. I mean, you can't help but not be moral, be immoral. You can't help it. It just happens. I mean, you can have the best intentions. You can be a good person inside of you, but what's going to happen every time is you're going to hurt the people around you. You're going to let everybody down. You're going to really negatively affect other people's lives consistently and over again. Yeah. And so I think I'm a lot the same person, but at the same time, I have tools for life, man. That person before could not live without alcohol or drugs because I fucking hated myself. I couldn't stand the sight of myself, the idea of myself.
Yeah. And you can go to you've said now, you can go to a party where people drinking and not even think twice about it, right?
I've been around every
social function.
Every drug or alcohol scenario you can think of.
And not been tempted at all? Like never thought about it? You think about it still?
I guess when it's 3 o'clock in the morning and you're in Las Vegas with your friends, and these are probably situations I shouldn't be in, but when you're at bachelor parties or
and it seems harmless.
When you're with your boys, it's like, you're with your boys, so you hang out with your boys. And so I've been around a lot of blow and everybody drinks, so it's drinking it doesn't even enter my brain.
Right.
The drugs is a little bit more difficult because, again, when it's 3 in the morning and you just can't match their intensity anymore.
Yeah.
Everybody else is still going, and you're just, you get a little frustrated. I get a little. I don't have the tolerance for people when they're fucked up like I used to.
Yeah.
And it makes me think about myself. I go, Jesus, man, I was probably 10 times worse than that. I can't stand this person.
Right.
I mean, I've never thought about like assaulting your own friends, but there's been some times where I'm just like, fuck, dude, this is
oh man,
this is ridiculous. But for the most part, I mean, it's all about being comfortable with yourself, and I'm not 100% comfortable with myself by any stretch.
You seem like you have a lot of confidence, though. I think you have that. I think that you. No, am I wrong? I feel like when I talk to you that you're very confident in who you are, and it's like
I do.
You accept who you are.
I think I accept who I am because I don't. It's all I got. I mean, I accept that I am who I am, but doesn't mean I'm not disappointed in that often.
Yeah.
I get really disappointed in myself because I feel I should know better.
Right.
You know, I've been going to meetings for 5 years now. I've been, I feel like I know how to treat people. So when I fuck up, you know, I don't feel like I have an excuse. I can't say, oh, I was fucked up. I was drinking, or I was on drugs, or I was, you know, so I get really down on myself for not being able to be more aware of how to treat people and how to tolerate certain situations. You know, I have this saying, it's called progress, not perfection. And I need to keep that in mind more often because I'm very, very hard on myself. And it makes it difficult to go to sleep at night, you know, when you're just constantly going over all the things you didn't do perfectly.
Do you think you're an inspiration to people?
As twisted as that sounds, yeah. Which is another thing that I don't think I think about very often. I think about being an example. You know, I do think about my actions and being trying to have integrity and carry myself with honor. But that also, at the same time, because I'm aware of that, when I don't behave like I should, I get really, really down on myself. And when I forget to, like, a lot of people, we get reached out to so often. There's a lot of phone calls and emails I don't get back to. People that have genuine concerns or sharing their story with me about sobriety and their plight, or their brother, sister, mother that had liver problems, or, you know, that is enrolled in transplant at Cedars too, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't get back to them all, you know, and I that pains me. I hate the fact that I don't make time to
You can't save the world, right?
yeah, you know, but it's I think about what those people go through. Like, oh, I thought this guy was. I have a real problem with taking things personally. I think that I'm just tragically tough on myself. You know, I think I should be. I need to learn how to take it easy on myself, or else I'm not going to continue to be sober.
Yeah.